Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Samuel Kingery Show. I am your host, Sam Kingery. With me, as a very special guest, is my friend and podcast co-conspirator, Mike Cooper. Today, we are going to be talking about the U.S. men's national team leading into the World Cup and their most recent friendly game against Senegal, where they won 3-2. Mike, before we start, just wanted to gauge how excited are you for a World Cup, especially a World Cup, on U.S. soil?
So I will put it this way: I watch soccer. I don't watch soccer, but I always get excited for the World Cup, and I think it's
Mhm.
even more exciting when it's on U.S. turf because I think that the boys are going to have an extra oomph of energy, and they're going
Yeah,
to have extra adrenaline running through them, and I think that's going to give them. I mean, we all hope they get out of the group and they win the group, obviously. But I think that if there's ever a chance that they can make a deeper run, it's going to be at a World Cup on U.S. soil.
I agree. We've had a 4 year cycle to get to here that has been rough. I think from both a casual, you're more of a casual fan, and I would say I've watched every minute of the U.S. for about 8 years, 7 years. So I think for both perspectives, the past cycle has been very rough. We were automatically qualified due to us hosting the World Cup, so we didn't have to go through qualification. And there's been a couple of moments of up, mainly in the beginning. And then from there it's been basically just like downer and then like the occasional sporadic up. And all we have to, I guess, our biggest hope it will be that this team, which is, despite what people may say, and despite our complaints about how they performed and what they've shown to us, this is the best roster we've ever brought to a World Cup by far. Um, in terms of talent, where the players play, what they could be expected to do, but we didn't have a lot of expectation. But what we have to hope is they catch one of their up moments and keep the momentum going. Because at the end of the day, a cycle outside of winning like a Copa America or for a European team winning the Euros, a cycle is completely defined by how you play in the World Cup. So yeah, it's been a rough cycle. There's been a lot of tough moments for this team, but all that matters is these next 3 or 4 games, and however long we can make in this tournament. And if this team ends up going on a run, deep in this tournament, who cares about the cycle? Because that's what's going to matter at the end of the day.
Oh,
Um,
I agree. I agree 100%. I think that if there's going to be a way to pick up more fans, especially it's going to be making a run, making these guys household names because it is on U.S. soil. So it's going to be more watchable game times. It's going to be more exposure, especially on American networks. It's going to be it's going to be a big opportunity for the organization really to make their name and make themselves a
yeah,
household brand as they should be.
yeah, and not only for the organization, for the players themselves. Now we have a couple players that are relatively household brands to Americans. Obviously the talisman, which is he's still the best player, but it's kind of sad that the rest of the players don't get the shine that he does. And Christian Pulisic, which no hate on Pulisic, he's the best player we've ever developed in this country. But I think there's going to be some other names outside of like that upper echelon 3 or 4 guys that are going to become more of household names. And with that, we can start looking at the roster. So this is the World Cup roster that Mauricio Pochettino called up. Uh, so have you taken a deep dive into this roster, Mike? Are you familiar with most of these guys, or is there any questions you have for me?
I think I'm pretty familiar. I mean, the roster is basically built around a familiar core.
Yeah,
Obviously, like you said, Christian Pulisic is the face of this team. Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie are obviously known players as well, especially if you follow the EPL.
yep.
Gino Reyna as well is still one of
Gio,
the most.
Giovanni,
One
not
of,
Gino.
I
He,
said
he,
G. I
he
said Gio.
oh, you said Gio. I thought you said Gino. I was like, yes, he's from New York, but he's not Gino.
No, Giovanni Reyna.
Giovanni.
Yeah, I'll make that Giovanni Reyna. He's still one of the most important players on this team that people don't, that they know, but because he's also very creative, but he's also hurt a lot of the time, so people may not know him as
Struggles
much.
for club playing time, inexplicably, which we can talk about. So let's go through the roster position by position. Let's start with goalkeepers. And so we don't know who's starting tomorrow yet. And by the way, USA Germany are playing in Chicago tomorrow, and I will be there. So very excited for that. I'll be there with some of my good friends, and we're very excited to go. Looking like a little bit of rain, but not too bad. Hey, gotta be able to do it on a cold, rainy night in Stoke, you know. So we have for goalkeepers, we have Chris Brady from the Chicago Fire. We have Matt Freese from New York City FC and Matt Turner from the New England Revolution. The name you'll recognize the most on here, Michael, is probably Matt Turner because he started for us last World Cup. Goalkeeper used to be a position that we were actually as good as the rest of the world, if not a little bit better than most teams. We had a run where we had Tony Meola, Casey Keller, Tim Howard, Brad Guzan, and I'm sure I'm missing maybe one or two other names. And they were Premier League starters. Like these were guys that played Premier League games. Tim Howard played for Manchester United at one point. Like they were good goalkeepers. And the difference that has happened, and the reason our goalkeepers are mainly MLS based and have Matt Turner tried his hand. He went to Arsenal. He got a loan to Crystal Palace. He even played a little bit in the championship, I believe, for another team that I'm blanking on in the moment. And he just couldn't quite cut it. And the reason for that is not because we have gotten worse at developing our shot stopping and our athleticism in goalkeepers, because that's what goalkeeper used to be 100% about. And in terms of developing an athletic, quick twitch, big guy, it's the United States. Of course, we're great at that. Goalkeepers now have to play with their feet, and goalkeeping is all about confidence. Well, when you ask guys that are great shot stoppers still to play with their feet, they're going to lose some confidence because they're not confident with their feet. And if they lose confidence with their feet, they're going to lose confidence with their hands, lose confidence in their shot stopping and their reading of the game. And that's death for a goalkeeper. And that's why our goalkeepers have really struggled to cut it at the highest level, at least this crop of goalkeepers. We do have some up and coming guys that have learned to play with their feet. And special shout out to Chris Brady. Greg Berhalter, the former coach, was big on playing out of the back, playing through the goalkeeper's feet. And he has since went to Chicago Fire, and Chris Brady has played and gotten much better with his feet. So we'll see how he develops over time. He's still a little young to be playing goalkeeper at this level. I don't know if you're familiar, Michael, but goalkeeper primes in soccer are like age 28 to like 34. So
yeah, that's kind of what I noticed. That's when they start really to take off, when they start to get the most exposure. They're either developed by their club that they are on, or
yeah,
developed by their national team, whether it's the United States or any other national
yeah.
team. You don't really see. I mean, you see more phenoms per se at the winger or striker.
The young guys. If you're out starting a 21-year-old goalkeeper in a World Cup, that kid is either that's your only option, or that kid is going to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Usually, that's what you'll see. Absolutely. So that's been the issue with us with goalkeeper. We also have another young goalkeeper who is on that I really like. He's on our training roster. He's one of there's 5 goalkeepers that are at all the trainings so far. And his name is Diego Cochin. He's I believe 18. He's Barcelona's backup or third backup. He's very good with his feet. So it's just going to take a few years for us to catch up with that development. And that's why our goalkeepers are no longer Premier League players. But we're going to get there eventually. The other problem with foot development is, like, for a guy like Matt Turner, yeah, he worked on his feet, but most of your development with your feet and most of your that kind of skill is developed between the ages of like from like age 4 to like 12. Like you're not going to get a lot better with your like with your footwork and stuff much past like even like 16, 17, 18. That's why a lot of guys that are 25, 26 in MLS playing winger, yeah, they're pretty talented and they're obviously good soccer players, but they're probably not going to be able to really cut it unless they're extremely special in like a Premier League or a Serie A or La Liga, because you can't get much better. Like you're kind of capped with that skill at a certain age. It's hard to develop it past there. So that's why our goalkeepers aren't playing in the highest levels anymore. But Um, they're still not bad if they're confident they can shot stop. Our starter has been Matt Freese. He kind of took the position from Matt Turner in last year's Gold Cup. Matt Freese is very confident, and at least we'll have somebody that is feeling confident. Hopefully, Germany doesn't, if he starts tomorrow, doesn't send 7 past him. But if he's feeling confident, he can shot stop really well, and he's a great penalty goalkeeper. He actually graduated. I don't know if he graduated, but he went to Harvard, and his thesis was on penalty shot stopping. Fun fact. So
That's impressive. I will say that.
yeah, and penalty shots and that's in a tournament, a penalty shot stopping goalkeeper. Like there's been times in World Cups and other tournaments where teams have saved a sub and subbed their goalkeeper when they know they're going to penalties because of certain goalkeepers are extremely good at penalties, which is an incredibly hard skill. So, if he's the starter, or maybe if Matt Turner ends up taking the starter position from him, and
I don't know how much you take like some of these like Yahoo previews and stuff like that, but looking at a preview that somebody wrote yesterday, they expect Matt Turner to start.
Interesting. I know it's still a debate. Like we don't know if he gets the full 90 tomorrow versus Germany, which I think many fans and media members are expecting to see, because we still have a week before the first game. That's plenty of rest time. That we're going to see mainly the starters and impact subs versus Germany to really test. So if he gets the full 90, I would say Freeze will be the starter, but we'll have to see how that goes. But I would not be surprised if there's a penalty situation if we see him in the world, like if he won't be the guy in between the sticks, and at least a penalty situation, if not full time in the World Cup.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because
But like here's another article that thinks Free starts. So
yeah,
nobody knows.
It's a toss up. We know that Chris Brady is pretty firmly the third choice. He's the youngest. But there's a good possibility that next cycle, we see Chris Brady maybe even get the nod. So we shall see. Let's move on to defenders. So we brought a plethora of center backs. So I'll start with the center back group that we have. So we have at center back our best center back, Chris Richards. He's a starter for Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Athletic, tall, can head in goals. He's our best center back. He's dealing with an ankle injury right now. We don't know if he's going to play tomorrow. I would honestly hope he doesn't, because I want him as healthy as possible, because we're going to need him. He's our best defender by far, outside of maybe our left back / left wing back, Anthony Robinson, who plays for my Premier League team, Fulham. He was captained them many times. He is a absolute motor, but we need Chris Richards to be healthy. He will start at center back for us if he's healthy, and he will start most likely in the middle of a 3 center back formation. From the looks of the roster, it looks like Pochettino is wavering towards his favored 3-4-2-1, 3-4-3. He tried out a 4-2-3-1. It did not go well versus Portugal and Belgium, so I assume he's going to go back to that 3-4-2-1, which dominated Uruguay and has been what we've looked the best in. So I would expect Chris Richards to either be the starting right center back in a 2-man center back formation, or if it's 3 center backs, to be the starting in the middle. Outside of him, we have in Europe, we have Mark McKenzie. He plays for Toulouse in France. Mark McKenzie is he's pretty good. Has played pretty good club ball. He's 27. He's entering his prime as a center back. His thing with the United States is he's pretty good. He brings a little something different to our center back pool, which instead of being a passer, he's also willing to like dribble into like space a little bit and take some space, which is something that Chris Richards doesn't do as much. But he's also pretty much guaranteed for one big mistake every match. I don't know how it is, but every match he plays for the United States, there's something that goes wrong. But I would say he's our second most trusted European guy. And then there's kind of the wonder kid. There's Alex Freeman, son of Antonio Freeman, the NFL player, played for the Packers for a long time. Alex Freeman just started playing high-level football last year, playing in an MLS, and he was playing right back. He's not the most technical player, but he's an incredible athlete. For Pochettino, and he started playing a right center back role, and he's since, due to his athleticism, and he was really really good in MLS. He got to move to Villarreal in Spain, in the top flight of Spain, and he's had some ups and downs. He only played a couple games. It was end of the season when he got the move. He didn't play a ton of games, but he had a couple really good moments for them. And I think he's going to start at that right center back in the three-man center back role. He's very, very fast, pretty good defender. He's still young, which is a little bit of a concern. I don't know if that is as ideal as we want it, but nothing in our center back room is really ideal as a whole. Um, so yeah, he'll play that hybrid right back, right center back role. Very athletic. I'm excited for him to develop over time. I don't know if he's ever going to be the most technical player ever, but he's looked really good, and he looked really good versus Senegal. We also have Joe Scally, who can play at that right center back / right back role. He has played. He's still really, really, really young. He's only 23. Good friend. He's one of Gio Reyna's. He's Gio Reyna's best friend.
What's crazy is Alex Freeman's younger than him.
Yeah, and they're both really young. That's something you're going to still notice with this team is still has a lot of really, really young players. We were the youngest team at last year's World Cup, and now like our main core is basically entering their primes / still pretty young, except for Tim Ream, who is a very old man.
Yeah, Pochettino named 13 players from the World Cup in 2022
Yeah,
to this roster, which tied a U.S. record for most returnees in consecutive World Cups, which I would assume with the young talent that they have, that's going to continue into the next World Cup as well.
yeah,
Because a lot of these guys, like you just said, are just entering their prime.
yeah,
But they may be young age-wise, but if you look at their game-wise and experience, especially on this level, you can argue that this is not a young group either.
no, no,
Not
no.
for, not for this moment.
Outside of Alex Freeman, Sebastian Berhalter, and like Austin Trusty, a lot of these guys, and like Zendejas hasn't had a ton of time with the national team. Most of these guys have been players on the national team for a long time, and a lot of them have 3 to 4 to 5 to even like 6, 7, 8 European seasons under their belt. So they're a very experienced team still in comparison to their youth, especially for a United States roster. To round out the center backs, we have Miles Robinson and Tim Ream. They play in the MLS. Miles Robinson has been in the MLS for a long time. He was going to be a starter at the last World Cup, but he tore his Achilles before it. And honestly, in my opinion, he's never looked the same. He was a defender that had very, very limited technical ability and was mainly known for his, height and athleticism. And that athleticism has really dropped. He is no longer in the MLS, consistent best 11. He is he just, I don't think he has it anymore, and he did not play very well with Senegal, which we'll talk about later. I don't really want him to get many minutes. I don't really see what the coaches see in him, but he is here. And then Tim Ream is the captain of the roster. He is the elder statesman, is the nice way to say it. In my opinion, he's an old man. He's also a St. Louis guy. He went to SLU. He's from St. Louis. He played many years for Fulham, my team. So I'm a fan of Tim Ream. He's still very technical on the ball, can pass well, probably has our best passing ability of any of our center backs.
He's 40. He's 40, isn't he?
He's 40. He's 38. The issue with Tim Ream is if we get into a game where we are playing incredibly talented fast wingers, especially if Anthony Robinson isn't there to cover and Tyler Adams isn't there to cover and he gets one-on-one, we're in a bad spot because I just don't know if he has the legs to keep up with especially not world class. Like if Mbappe or somebody's on him, obviously most of our defenders are going to get smoked by an Mbappe or Luis Diaz or any of those top guys. But Tim Ream is a step slow, and so I'm concerned. I think because of Pochettino captain, he's going to be the starter in the left center back role. The other person who I think can start in the left center back role, who is also here, is Austin Trusty. Austin Trusty has had an interesting European career, and has played pretty well the last two chances he's gotten at the left center back position for us. I would prefer to see him start. I'm still fine with Tim Ream being the captain, and then you give the captain's armband to Tyler Adams, who captained us last World Cup, or Pulisic, or whoever you want to. Um, but in terms of starting Tim Ream, I would be much more comfortable starting Austin Trusty. He's much more in his prime. He's athletic, doesn't have quite the passing range of Tim Ream, but I think he would be a better defender for us. If you want to play Tim Ream versus a team, when we'll go into like groups like Australia or somebody who's going to bunker more versus us and be more defensive and have him for his passing, that's fine. But if we're playing a team that's talented, or even like Turkey, who are going to play in the group stage, I'd prefer to see Austin Trusty in that position for his athleticism and for just he's a younger player than Tim Ream. So that's gonna be our center backs for the 3 center back roles that we're probably gonna play. I think because of the amount of guys we brought that can play center back, I think Pochettino's leaning towards his 3-4-2-1, which I think is the correct decision. And so my preferred starters would be to see Freeman, Chris Richards, and Austin Trusty, and then Tim Ream and Mark McKenzie are the backups there. And I don't want to see, and Joe Scally would also be the backup for Freeman, and then you could put Mark McKenzie where Chris Richards is, and Tim Ream at that left center back role. I don't want to see Miles Robinson. He's not good. So that's the center backs. For wing backs, we have Max Arfston. He's not a good defender. He's all the way at the top, by the way. By the center backs. Max Arfston is not a good defender. He's not a good defender even in MLS where he plays. The Columbus Crew have made him essentially a full-time left winger at this point. He has some ability on the ball to take players one-on-one. So, if he has like an Austin Trusty behind him, Anthony Robinson is 100% the starter in that left wing back role. He is a Premier League player. He is very much better than Max Arfston. Max Arfston might be a little bit better taking guys 1v1 and dribble move wise, but Anthony Robinson is a lockdown defender, very fast and incredible motor. He is coming off injuries, so still needs to get a little healthier, but he should be the starter. Max Arfston can play versus bunkering teams, but if you want him and expect him to defend at a decent level, it's not going to happen. Talked about Anthony Robinson already. And the right wing back, we have the starter should be Serginho Dest. Serginho Dest. Listen, this is a guy who Americans should market. Americans should know. He was on the last World Cup roster as the starter. This guy is I don't know how to even describe him. He is a dribbler. He takes players on 1v1. He is crafty, creative, skillful. Also not the best defender, better defender than Max Arfston, but not the greatest defender. What I like about the three center back with wing backs is we don't have to depend on guys like Max Arfston and Serginho Dest to defend as much. That's their secondary role. Their main role is providing width and attacking. And when Serginho Dest gets the freedom to attack, he looks good in the Champions League when he does that. He is very, very, very good. He will be very important for us. And then his backup is Tim Weah. Tim Weah started at right winger for us last World Cup. He has struggled to find minutes in Europe as a winger, but has found minutes for Marseille and Juventus last season. But Marseille actually officially bought him on loan from Juventus. So he is no longer on loan. He is now a full-time Marseille player. He was bought today. He has found minutes and has found his roles as a wingback. He's very, very pacey. He's not as creative as Dest, but he's very direct. He's direct towards goal. He knows where he wants to go, and he does it very, very fast. And yes, if you notice, if you recognize the name Weah, you should, if you're a soccer fan. He is the son of George Weah, who is Africa's only Ballon d'Or winner and a European football legend. So, yes, he's the son of George Weah, and he's from New York. So that's our defenders. I would expect Robinson and Dest to start as our wingbacks, and I love both of them for different reasons. Robinson is a lockdown defender, very good speed, good motor, and then Dest is he's just special with the soccer ball at his feet. He was so special that he was bought by
Dest has just gotten so much better too.
Yeah,
he does so much in space. I mean, his stat sheet may not show the playmaking ability that he has. I mean, in 38 appearances for the United States, he has 3 goals and 6 assists. But
And a
he
lot of
makes,
those appearances,
but he makes the impact in different ways that is not just scoring or assisting on goals. He's creating space for others. He's
yeah.
creating lanes for others. His vision, while and passing ability is just probably the best on the roster, and I don't think it's close.
In terms of he's a top player. There's a few other, Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna are right there with him. But yeah, in terms of like when we attack, when he is there with like a Gio Reyna, with a Pulisic, with a Balogun, and they're all combined. He's really good at combining with those guys too. When they're able to combine and move around, very, very good. He had a goal and an assist, maybe versus no. He had a goal and he was part of the build-up for Pepe's assist to Pulisic versus Senegal. He had an assist last World Cup. And by the way, a lot of his minutes for the USA has been as a right back instead of a right wing back, playing in a back four. So even, sometimes less attacking space there for him. And he still has made an impact, and he's been very impactful for PSV. He's played at Barcelona. Love Serginho Dest. We can move on to the midfield, in which this is a concerning part of the roster for me because we only brought 4 guys. We brought Sebastian Berhalter. If you recognize that name, that is the son of our former national team head coach, Greg Berhalter.
6, technically, if you look at their roster.
For the 2-man midfield that's going to be in the middle pivot, we brought 4 guys, possibly 5, because Poch has hinted at Malik Tillman playing there. He also said Gio Reyna can play there, but I
don't know if it's a hint because Malik Tillman's listed as a midfielder on their roster.
Well, that's because they're going to be playing Cam. The 2-man below the striker is usually Pulisic and then one of Gio Reyna, Tillman, and they're center attacking midfielders. Tillman and Gio can technically step back into that more defensive or more box-to-box midfielder role, but that's not their preferred position. Tyler Adams is there. Tyler Adams is a lockdown center defensive midfield. He plays with Bournemouth at the Premier League. I have his USA jersey on right now. He is a dog. He has that dog in him. He hunts for the ball. He stops opposition teams, and we will need him healthy, and we will need him in this World Cup because he shuts down counterattacking well in the Premier League. Like
you could argue his value to this team is similar to what Sergio Dest is. It's not about ball winning and cover. I mean, I'm sorry. His value is not always about the numbers, right?
No,
it's about the ball winning, the covering the space, the breaking up the transitions, the protecting the back line and if the U.S. wants to be successful, they need one for him to stay healthy in this tournament.
Yeah.
And 2, they need him to perform at the level that they know he can perform at.
Yeah, absolutely. He also every 2 years has a random 40-yard banger that he lets off. So hey, if he scores one of those in this World Cup, even better. But yeah, him and Serginho Dest don't appear on the stat sheet for different reasons. Serginho Dest mainly because he also has defensive duties. Tyler is he's not a goal dangerous guy. He's not a guy that's gonna unlock a defense with a pass. He's more of a safe player. But what Tyler Adams does is he shuts down opposing counterattacks. He shuts down their best midfielders. And I mean,
if you want to mark somebody and go man on man, that man's going to be covered by Tyler Adams.
Yeah, absolutely. And he covers space well. Great motor on him. We'll need him healthy. The other guy who I'd like to see start would be Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie has played very, very well over the past couple of years for Juventus. Box-to-box midfielder, but he's played all over the park. He's played minutes in Europe at every single position in soccer aside from goalkeeper. And I do believe he's both the USA and Juventus's like extreme emergency backup goalkeeper. So if we get lucky by the end of his career, he will play every position in soccer, which is crazy. He can play every position. He can fill in as a wing back if we need him to. He can play center attacking midfield. He can be an emergency striker. He can be an emergency center back if we really need him to. But preferably he'll be in the middle of the park as a midfielder. Decent passing range, good motor, good dribbler, good in combination play, very goal dangerous, very good. He can, not to use a Greg Berhalter word, great verticality in terms of his heading ability and jumping ability, very dangerous in the box. Great at arriving late. attacks where the forwards get there. He's great at being that fifth guy that arrives late that is unmarked because he's passing by the opposing midfield, and he's that late guy in the box that you pass to and he scores a goal. So love Weston McKennie. I hope him and Adams get to start together. But Poch has also really liked him as a attacking midfielder, in that one of those two guys, maybe by Pulisic. So we might see Sebastian Berhalter there. Sebastian Berhalter is very dangerous with free kicks. I don't know if he quite has the speed or the technical ability to keep up with high level World Cup soccer or European soccer, which is the reason why he's in the MLS.
You can argue. I know we haven't hit on him yet, but you can argue like Berhalter and Roldan. Those guys are just stabilizing depth pieces. They aren't gonna be headline players. But
No.
every tournament and every national team roster needs players who can handle and know their roles and manage games and not break the structure that Poch is trying to create.
Which I'm fine with Berhalter being here. He's an MLS best 11. He's really came on in the last couple of years. So Berhalter being here. The fourth midfielder we brought for this role is Christian Roldan. Every coach has loved Christian Roldan. And yes, I know what you just said about him. Every coach likes him and their depth pieces. If Christian Roldan plays above 15 minutes of this World Cup, we are in a lot of trouble. Christian Roldan is, I'm sorry, Seattle fans, he's not that great in MLS. He's played 40, 41, 42 games for the United States, and he has 0 goals and like 1 assist.
He has played 46 appearances for the United States, and he has 5 assists.
5 assists. Those 5 assists.
That's what he's been credited for per the United States website. Obviously, that's not always accurate.
I would also.
He's
also played the majority of those games versus teams like Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, island nations, small nations, Bosnia and Herzegovina. He has not played games versus high-level opposition.
Like you touched on in the MLS this year, he's played in 12 games. He started 10. He has 3 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah, he's never been good in the United States shirt. His best game was recently against Australia. He played versus Senegal and was not good. He should not play any minutes for us. My concern with this roster is we didn't bring any solid depth outside of our 2 starters. Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams, my preferred starters. Sebastian Berhalter is and Christian Roldan to me is a massive negative. In terms of how he is as a human, clearly the guys on the roster love him. The coaches love him. I have nothing against him as a person. He seems like a nice guy. He cannot play. He should not play. He cannot play. The fact that we only brought these 4 and we left guys, I know Yunus Musa hasn't had great European success. Tanner Tessman got a little injured at the end of the season and didn't have the best end of the season as comparison to a start at Lyon in France this year. Aiden Morris plays in the English Championship, the 2nd division. Those guys are all an upgrade, a significant upgrade on Christian Roldan, and they're still pretty young too. I would have much preferred to see at least one of them extra one here in place of Roldan or in place of Miles Robinson. We don't need that many center backs. Replace Miles Robinson with one of those guys. I would have preferred to see that just for an extra coverage, because if Tyler Adams, who is prone to injury, gets hurt, we are in a world of trouble. It's bad. And yes,
with how Poch is coached, would you move per se a Gio Reyna to cover a Tyler Adams before you go to a bench role?
I would.
Like Berhalter
I would play Weston McKennie and Malik Tillman, and I'd play Gio Reyna with Christian Pulisic. That's what I would put Malik Tillman back there, and I would put Weston McKennie back there. And also a problem with this roster was Johnny Cardoso got hurt. Johnny Cardoso was starting and playing significant minutes for Atletico Madrid as a center defensive midfielder. Would have honestly been in a shout to start for us. He's never played that great for the United States, but quality. Listen, form and like temporary, like how you play, that's temporary. In terms of quality on the soccer field, that never goes away. There's a reason why you watch like 60-year-old old club legends like get together for a charity game and they're still really good on the ball. It's because that stuff never dies. And that's the difference between guys like Christian Roldan and guys like Johnny Cardoso and Tanner Tessman is they're just better soccer players, in my opinion. this is the roster we have. I'll be rooting for them. But if Tyler Adams goes down and Christian Roldan sees a lot of minutes, we're in a lot of trouble. We can move on to center attacking midfield now. That is a position where we have a dearth of quality, European quality even. Malik Tillman got a big move to Leverkusen. Didn't have the best season ever, but very, very, very talented attacking midfielder. Brendan Aronson has played almost every game for Leeds in the Premier League, kept them up this season, has really developed as a player in the last 4 years. 4 years ago, he wasn't, didn't quite have the physical ability to play in the Premier League. Got bullied. Leeds got relegated. Leeds fans screamed him off the pitch. They hated him. Now they love him again because he has improved his physicality, improved his play, and he played almost every minute in the Premier League that he could this year. So really, really good player. Christian Pulisic, obviously, incredibly talented attacking winger, attacking midfielder. He will be obviously our number one guy. And then
when he's on his game, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
When
you're
he's
good.
on his game like he is, like he was in the first couple months of the Premier League season, the United States,
Syria, he puts in AC Milan now.
Syria. But you knew what I meant. You know what I meant. When he's on his game and he's in the top performers of those level of leagues, that puts the United States on a whole different level.
Yeah, if he's playing like he did in the first 3 months of the Serie A season for the United States this year, in this World Cup, he will be incredibly impactful. He's one of the best attackers. I said it. I'll say it out loud. He's not a world class player in terms of he's going to break into a world best 11, but when he is on his game, he is one of the best attackers in the world. He's one of the best attackers in Italy.
I mean, you saw that. I know we haven't touched on it yet, but you saw that against Senegal when he had a goal and an assist.
And
it gave the United States all the momentum they needed.
Yeah, he had not scored or assisted in the entirety of 2026 so far. Has had a really poor end of the year for AC Milan. AC Milan as a whole had a really poor second half of the season. But him having that confidence versus Senegal was really, really big and shows that he can hopefully bring it in this World Cup. And then the X factor at this position is Giovanni Reyna. Giovanni Reyna is the son of Claudio Reyna, a USA all-time great. Gio Reyna does something in this, and he has not played a lot of club minutes since the last World Cup. He's been injured. I'm not going to talk about what a lot of media members, U.S. media, have still a misconstruction of what happened at the last World Cup with his attitude issues. Gio Reyna has never had a coach outside of Greg Berhalter, and Greg Berhalter even said that he fixed it after they talked about it. Has never been said to have attitude issues. He loves soccer. He loves the national team. Gio Reyna, good. That's all I'm going to talk about is attitude issues because I think it's a bunch of BS when American media and MLS shill media bring it up to try to disparage him. He's still only 23, which shows how young he was when he was an impact player for us and for Dortmund in the German league and in the Champions League. He was an impact player when he was 17, 18 years old.
I mean, he's 23 years old and he already has 37 appearances for the United States. So people forget that he remains one of the most talented, if not most talented, creators of anybody on this roster.
Oh, he is.
Always the question around him is
health?
Whether his role that a coach wants to give him, and the consistency that he plays at.
Yeah, and that you're 100% right. He's the X factor because if Gio Reyna, he played okay versus Senegal. He was kind of played it a little safe. I would prefer to see him try a few more dangerous line breaking passes. We'll see if he plays versus Germany and how that goes. If he is on. If he is on and Christian Pulisic is on, if Gio Reyna comes to this tournament confident and gets starting nods or impact bench nods, and he plays well, he is the X factor for this team because if he plays good, all of a sudden our attack is as dangerous as basically anyone outside of the top 6 to 7 to 8 teams in this World Cup. We are right there with them. If him and Christian Pulisic are playing well. So he is the X factor for this team. If he decides and he's able to play consistently, to stay healthy, and to play to what he can do, he is incredible, and he will be the X factor. Malik Tillman is also very good. I would expect him or Weston McKennie or Gio Reyna to start alongside Christian Pulisic in that two-man pairing underneath the striker. And then finally, we have our strikers. We have last World Cup, the striker pool we brought was Josh Sargent, Jesus Ferreira, who still has memes being made about him for how bad he played against the Netherlands. Wait, time out. I apologize. I forgot the last player that was out of this roster late. Alejandro Zendejas. Alejandro Zendejas plays for Club America in Mexico. Very dangerous player. He probably has one of the best left feet on the roster. His left foot is made of gold. He is lethal with that thing. If he gets space in the box and can curl a shot, he will bury it. He is very, very good. He will also be in contention to play. Probably won't see the field a ton because of just how talented we are at this position. But if a couple of those guys get hurt, or if he comes off the bench, I'm not worried about him playing because I think he's a very talented player. His main issue is he's a little small. He is a little small, not dangerous for headers, and just not what I would describe as a very physically appealing player. But he has a lot of quality, so very good. Anyway, last World Cup, the strikers we brought were Jesus Ferreira, Josh Sargent, and Haji Wright. Haji Wright only played versus the Netherlands, really had a goal off the back of his ankle that went in. So, hey, he's the last USA player to ever score in a knockout game. He had a great season in the championship for Coventry City and got them promoted. They will be playing in the Premier League next year, and he's looking to have a role there in the Premier League next season. Ricardo Pepi is the starter when healthy for PSV, who is the best team in the Netherlands and is a Champions League team. He has an incredible goals per 90 record. Really, really good.
People forget about him too. He's only 23.
Only 23. He should have been
he made his debut for Team USA at 18.
Yeah.
And he scored in his debut. People forget that he's the 8th youngest goal scorer of all time for Team USA at 18 years old. At 18 years old and 242 days.
Yeah.
So it's people forget too. That's kind of what we mentioned at the beginning. We're entering a wave where these guys are 20, 24, 23. The majority of the major talent on this roster can become very, very known or very, very known household names.
Yeah.
If they can, one, win their group, and two, advance out of their group.
Absolutely.
Because they're gonna make waves in the United States. They may end up getting themselves a higher transfer fee to go to a bigger team in Europe. They need to play well.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing that I know we're breaking down the roster, but that's just when you look at the breakdown of the stats, the age, the debuts of when these guys were, it's
impressive.
They're impressive. They're very young. And we had the last World Cup where we were patient. We had a mix of very older, very younger. Maybe they didn't mesh well. Maybe Berhalter didn't get the most out of them.
He also left Ricardo Pepi at home. Ricardo Pepi saved his job. Greg Berhalter was on the verge of losing his job in World Cup qualifying, where he started Ricardo Pepi. Ricardo Pepi scored and saved his job, and then he left him off the roster for Jesus Ferreira, who played so bad versus Netherlands. There are memes still being made about him that said, why is bro playing Regista for the Netherlands? Because he was so bad. So bad that Greg Berhalter, who had told Gio Reyna he wasn't basically going to play him in the World Cup, put in Gio Reyna in the second half as a false nine, just trying to get something going. Greg Berhalter completely fumbled the bag with Ricardo Pepi. I'm so glad he did. He should. This should not be his World Cup debut. This should be his second, but I'm glad that he made it. He most likely won't be the striker because of the striker that we signed to play for our team after the last World Cup, Valerian Balogun. Valerian Balogun had over 20 goal contributions for Monaco and France this year, had 5 Champions League goals this year, I think, or 5 Champions League goal contributions, goal and assist. Incredibly talented player. Pepi is more of a classic number 9 striker where he is goal dangerous, tall.
To answer your question, in 10 matches in Champions League, he had 5 goals.
Yeah.
In League One, 30 matches, 13 goals, 3 assists.
Yeah. So he had over 20 goal contributions and 5 Champions League goals. He's a very good player. Here's the interesting thing you said you were talking about transfers. There's a great chance. Fulham tried to get Pepi during the January transfer window. Didn't get him. Haji Wright is going to be playing with Coventry in the Premier League next year. Valerian Balogun is English and American and was playing for Arsenal's youth teams. If he plays well this World Cup, and with how he played for Monaco, he might get it anyway. He's looking towards a Premier League transfer. There's a great chance that we come in the next season after this World Cup, all three of our strikers are Premier League players. All three. Which is unheard of.
But and that goes back to the point that I was making. They're young. They're going to make it, like, they have a very good chance of, one, like you just said, their value could skyrocket. They could become big performers in Europe.
Yeah.
You know, they could get to.
Which Balogun already is a big performer in Europe, and so is Pepe in many ways. But they could become even more.
You get my point. Like they could get to that Pulisic level of like, and then imagine, you know, if they perform well in 20, you know, if they can get to a semifinal, just as an example, or quarters, get out of their group, or get out of their group and perform well in the quarters. You know, in 2030, if they can keep a majority of these guys healthy and together, they may be one of the favorites to win it.
I don't know about a favorite, but they'll be a dark horse, like, ultimate candidate. Like, they'll be.
But you get my point. They're going to be more talked about than they are now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, this is outside of the roster. Final thing on the roster, and then I'll say this next thing. So we brought last World Cup. Our best player was like a 15-goal, like 10-goal scorer for Norwich in the English Championship. Our worst striker now, this roster, is a 20-goal scorer in the English Championship. That is how much we've improved in 4 years. And yes, I know it hasn't shown as much on the field as we'd like it to. Yes, I know this was a rough cycle. There are reasons outside of the midfield and some of the center backs and the goalkeepers on this team to be very excited about the talent on this team. This is by far the best USA roster that's ever been to a World Cup, and it's a World Cup on home soil. It is unquestionably the best attack the USA has ever put on the field. We're going to start Pulisic and like Tillman below Fuller and Balogun, with Serginho Dest coming off the right side as well, and Anthony Robinson, and then Weston McKennie arriving late. And then the impact subs will be Gio Reyna and Pepe. Like that is incredible for a nation of our lack of development. We're starting to get there. And yes, 2030, you're absolutely right. We could be a really good place. Pulisic will be 31, hopefully not too much past his prime, or still in it. Adams will be 31. Weston McKennie will be 30, 31. All the rest of these guys will be still in their primes. And hopefully if we develop one of these goalkeepers, and then we have a couple of young attackers and midfielders. Center back, still a question who's going to come up and take it. There's a German-American who denied the call-up, Noah Kai Banks. We'll see if he finally decides he's going to play for us or Germany. The issue is if he tries to play for Germany, there's a lot of guys he's competing with. But we have some young attackers. There's a guy named Matthijs Albert. He's 16, playing for Dortmund. Kevin Sullivan is going to Manchester City when he turns 18. He's still only 16. We have some up-and-coming guys too. So very, very excited about how this roster has developed. I know they haven't played great together, but last game, Senegal, was definitely an up for us. And we played Uruguay. We beat them 5-1 earlier, late in 2025. So if we can play to that level, we're going to be an interesting team, and I'm very excited for it. So now that we've talked over the roster, and so I'd say my main positions of strength of the roster are attack and wingbacks, and my main positions of weakness or question marks are who's starting in goal, who are we starting at center back, and who is starting in the midfield, and can we stay healthy at those positions? Because we take an injury to Chris Richards and Tyler Adams, we're going to be in a much worse place than we want to be. Let's talk about
you could argue real quick that if they have enough forward depth at this point, granted nobody wants this to happen, so I don't want this to happen either. But if a Pulisic went down, there's so much depth behind them with talent now that's different than any other United States roster. Yeah, at least on paper.
Oh yeah, on paper, 100%.
That you can lose somebody like that and still be okay and still be competitive. If you lose a depth, like you just said, if you lose a depth piece in the middle of a Tyler Adams or a Reyna or any of those guys, you may not be able to replace them.
But at
least that forward, it's one of the better teams on paper that they've ever had.
Yeah. And hopefully next World Cup, Johnny Cardoso's healthy too. Johnny Cardoso will still be a young player, and he's playing. His team made the Champions League semifinal this year, and he was a starter. So, like, hopefully we'll be even better. Let's move on to the jerseys. Last World Cup, Nike fumbled the bag with the jerseys. I have many tweets about this, but the last World Cup jersey was a PSG warm-up kit that was repurposed to United States jersey that they sold as an homage to American football and American sports. That was a bunch of bullshit. The jerseys kind of sucked. These jerseys, the players were mad about the last World Cup jerseys. Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, these guys complained about it, and they got to be a part of designing some of the best jerseys I think the USA has ever worn. I'm wearing Tyler Adams' jersey right now. The striped jersey is sick. The dark blue, I would have preferred a lighter blue myself. I'm more of a fan of the denim up here, but the blue with the faded stars in it, these are sick jerseys. They look great on the pitch. Watching the last game, didn't they look nice?
Oh, I agree. I thought they looked beautiful. Like you said, like we were talking about off camera, that with the blue ones, the stars and stripes, like, or the blue one with the stars, sometimes in person or on TV when you're watching the game, the stars are hard to see. But there's no doubt the red, white, and blue with the red stripes with the white, they should wear that every single game. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You can wear blue shorts or white shorts with it. We did have a little problem. We played Belgium in it, and Belgium wore red shirts, and that was, even the players were like, yeah, it was a little difficult to see what team. So, but hopefully FIFA handles the World Cup jersey assignments a little bit better, and that we won't run into that issue. But the jerseys are beautiful. I'm very happy with them. I think they're gonna, if we have a couple great moments like we've had in World Cups, the Landon Donovan Algeria goal, the Clint Dempsey scoring against Ghana early, getting out of the group in 2014. Michael, fun USA fact for you. Are you aware of the group that USA was in 2014?
No, I don't remember off the top of my head.
We were in the group of death. We made it out of this group, and then we lost to Belgium, where Tim Howard set the World Cup record for saves in a game. Incredible performance by him, but we lost to the golden generation of Belgium. The group we were in 2014, which we got out of, was us, obviously, Ghana, which Ghana had a very, very, very solid African national team, very, very solid in African tournaments, good team. Portugal, with prime.
I don't know if you saw the news that came out.
No.
Chris Richards has been ruled out tomorrow.
That's fine.
With an ankle injury.
Fine.
That's Poch's, according to ESPN, his first choice at center back.
Yeah, he should be. He's our best center back. That's fine.
It's the same. It's from his ankle injury that he injured during his match at Crystal Palace against Brentford on May 17th.
Yes. So that's fine. I did, even if he felt healthy enough, don't play him. Don't play him. Let him keep resting. Let him keep rehabbing. So he's good to go for the group stage. I'm fine with it. Back to this group. Portugal, with prime Cristiano Ronaldo, and then the champions of the World Cup that year, Germany. We got out of that group.
That's nuts.
it was insane. So, in terms of what people tell you about the group, which we'll talk about, not the hardest group we've ever been at, but it will be interesting. Anyway, these jerseys, beautiful, love them, very happy with them. Glad that the players had a reason to give their own examples and say what they wanted in a jersey, and that Nike took their suggestions. I hope we have a couple moments and this jersey becomes a classic, because this denim is a classic for a reason. Hopefully this can be a classic for a reason too. I want to talk about.
Sorry, I was reading that article about him. It says that his absence on Saturday will assure that in the entire cycle since the last World Cup, stars Richard Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Balogun, Robinson, and Sergio Dest will have played in the same match just one time.
And I know what that match is. I know what that match is. That match was a Nations League final versus Mexico, and we dominated them. Or semifinal.
It was a CONCACAF, March 2024 against Mexico.
Yes.
That's insane when you think about it, that That's how injury prone this United States team is.
Yeah, and how inconsistent it's been. We looked in that Nations League. That was right after the last World Cup, and Gio Reyna, Greg Berhalter had been fired for the time being, and we had an interim coach who just let the players. He put them all in their best positions, all of our best players, and said, "Boys, go play." They stomped Mexico and Canada, crushed them. They looked incredible. If they can all play together, with a coach like Pochettino pulling the strings, we have a chance here. We got a chance, not to win the World Cup probably, but we have a chance to be special. I want to talk about the commercials and the hype going into this World Cup. It's definitely started to pick up recently because I mean the World Cup's in like a week. I would hope it did. I think some of the commercials and media about the World Cup have been decent. The Speed World Cup song was pretty good. I kind of enjoyed it. The 3v3 soccer tournament commercial with Timothy Chalamet and Messi, the Pulisic and Messi at the bar commercial with like Ochoa from Mexico not letting a ball go between his legs. Those are fun. I enjoy those. I enjoy some of the hype that's happened. Now, the American soccer media, I have a real problem with them, and many people do, because they're just not. There's not it. They're not it. They're not as tough on this team as
they're not honest.
They're not honest.
They feed you. So that's why, like, I've been before when we started talking about this podcast, I didn't listen to any of the national beats. You know, you listen to these YouTubers and independent people, like kind of like how we're talking about, because they're going to give you the honest truth about what this team is. If you go and watch Landon Donovan or whoever it is talk about this team, they're not going to give you the honest truth of what this team is, who they are, or where they're going to be, or it's just going to be, if I'm being honest, they're just going to glaze Pulisic and
they glaze
and then talk down about any player that the United States team tells them to talk down.
So they glaze the top European guys, Pulisic, McKennie. They are Pulisic mainly. They hate the mid-level European guys. Guys like Joe Scally. Joe Scally is, since he was 18, played in the Bundesliga every game basically that he's been available for. Has started and played every game, and they hate him. And then guys like Christian Roldan or last World Cup, like if you compare our rosters from the last World Cup, it's night and day. Because we had guys like Jordan Morris playing minutes for us last World Cup. Jordan Morris was an attacker who only was athletic and had been past an Achilles and 2 ACL injuries and was no longer even fast. And they glazed him for his love of the team. Fellas, and this is so like Diego Luna got left off this roster, and there's a big Twitter spat between people that are known as MLS shills and people that are known as European Euro snobs. I don't think
I will say this: if you want to glaze U.S. U.S. soccer, that's fine, but try to hype up the players that are in the MLS to make the league look better and not look like a bottom feeder. Don't knock the players that are mid-level European players that would be the number one scoring superstar on any of these MLS teams.
Yes.
Right. Like hype up the goalkeeping, of Matt Turner or whoever it may be of these MLS. Like push their narrative. Push them to be the next United States superstar.
Push guys in MLS who can actually be impactful in the United States. Like if you want to push Matt Turner, Matt Freese, and Chris Brady and Sebastian Berhalter and Diego Luna, and you want to talk about how good they are, that's fine because they're really good. But
I get I know where you're going with this. I'm just saying it's like push those guys to get them, because you know what? Everybody knows the Premier League. Not everybody knows Matt Turner is the goalkeeper of the New England Revolution.
Yeah.
They may just think of him as the United States goalkeeper, but where does he play after that?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to push if you're gonna push a United States narrative.
Yeah, and you have to.
Push the MLS narrative.
Yeah.
Make it look like a better league. Don't make it look like, no offense to these players, but Messi doesn't try half the time and scores 2 goals against you.
Yes. They have to be,
that doesn't make the league look any better.
No. They need to push players and push the league as a whole and push players who can actually be impactful. The problem is when they push players like a Jordan Morris or Jesus Ferreira or a Christian Roldan, and then they suck for the USA because they're not very good. When you glaze players who aren't good and then they end up proving to everyone that you're good, your league doesn't look good. Now, if you want to push forth, because listen, unless the MLS ends up as the NBA in 30 years, where they're the number one soccer, thing, and then everybody else plays, and feeds into it. MLS is not that. MLS needs to be a league like the Dutch league or like the Belgian league, where they develop good players. They have a couple really good teams, and they develop players to send them over to Europe into high level leagues. Push the guys you develop. Like MLS helped develop Tyler Adams. MLS helped develop Weston McKennie, Chris Richards, Ricardo Pepi. Still continue to glaze them because those guys go to Europe, and like Pepe struggled for a couple years in Europe, and the MLS media completely forgot about him. And Jesus Ferreira was starting at FC Dallas, which was Pepe's team. He was starting in Pepe's position, where Pepe had played well and moved to Europe. The MLS media started shitting on Pepe, and then only talking about Jesus Ferreira. I'm like, but he was amazing in this league. Like, talk about how you developed that talent, but they don't, and it's really annoying. And then they come out with media like this. Have you seen the USA winning the World Cup commercial?
Yeah.
It is. Listen, number one, USA. Listen, a commercial about the USA winning the World Cup, fine. Even versus Brazil, fine. If that's the team you want to put out there, fine. We have to believe in winning the World Cup one day. I'm fine with it. Did you see the manner in which they're winning the World Cup? A Christian Pulisic Olympico in the 99th minute? Have these people ever watched a game of soccer in their lives that make this shit? Like, an Olympico? Really?
Definitely,
Like,
definitely not.
why not a Christian Pulisic corner to Weston McKennie heading it in? Or like something that could actually happen? And also, World Cups aren't really decided on last minute goals. Like that's not like
No,
soccer.
it's gonna be somebody. I mean, there is excitement that does happen in extra time.
Yes.
It does happen, but is it the number one that's gonna decide a World Cup? No, it's gonna be
No.
the goal in the 50th or 60th minute
No.
that decides who's gonna win the game.
Like if you say, Sam, make us a commercial concept for the USA winning the World Cup. We want the other team to beat Brazil. I'll be like, okay, fine. What it would be 89th, like 91st minute of extra time, like, and it says +2, like we're rounding down the minute. We're getting close, and it's like 2-1, and like below it says Pulisic scored and like Reyna scored or whoever you want to say, and then the other team, Vinicius scored, and it's the people in bars around the country and at the game like 10, 9, like it's like, oh my god, it's gonna happen. It's not an Olympico last kick of the game, like what the like, it's ridiculous. And then like Diego Luna is put in every World Cup commercial because U.S. Soccer hyped him to be the next big thing. Diego Luna is a fine player. He can certainly develop. He's so young. He did not play ever really well except for in the Gold Cup for us. In the Gold Cup, the best team we played was Mexico's B team. He didn't look good versus any high-level European team or any high-level, like he didn't look great versus Japan. He was never going to be an impact player for us, and they designed all the media around him. And then when he didn't make the World Cup, people were like, what's going on? We needed Diego Luna. He's our best player. No,
he's what the media made you think.
That's what the media made you think. If our media was honest about it and honest about who the best players in the team are, then we wouldn't have had the problem of everyone freaking out when Diego Luna didn't make it. So I'm happy with some media thing. A lot of it's more independent and more better media than our typical, but some of it is still cringe. And we as American soccer fans need to. There are tons of people in America that, like, Premier League is one of the most watched leagues in America. Like, there's tons of very skilled, intelligent soccer fans that live in this country. And it seems like the media continues to like put forth that like America is like a dumb soccer country that knows nothing. We've been in the FIFA best 20 national teams for like 30 years. Why do we still pretend like we're picking guys off a cotton field in Texas and being like, hey, can you play for the national team, son? You look pretty fast. No, we have guys that are going and being developed in the biggest clubs in the world. Like we need to
U.S. soccer is on the rise in a sense of development, whether it's in the United States or by the talent that's here being poached to go to Europe. Like the talent's here. It's just finding that, maybe Poch is the answer. Obviously, Berhalter wasn't,
Yeah.
but is it?
And
Is it? But this what I'm getting at is it the development side of the coaching once they're part of the program? Is it? You know what I mean? It's where are they missing? What is the
it's
point that they're what is the point that they're missing on a consistent basis where they can't just get over that hump?
so there's a few answers here. Number one, in terms of player talent, we have in the last 10 to 15 years exploded in player talent. We had for like 20 years a couple guys playing in Europe. Brian McBride is the leading all-time scorer for Dempsey's the leading all-time scorer for Fulham. Either way, we've had a couple guys, make it in Europe, play okay. Very few at like high-level Champions League clubs. That's why like Christian Pulisic winning the Champions League is unheard of for us. But he's like our best player ever. And other countries, even of like we would like to say we're like close to like a Croatia or something like that. But we've never had their top guys. Like Croatia has Luka Modric. The next step for the United States in terms of player development would be developing a player, and maybe this young Matthew Salber or young Kevin Sullivan, maybe they can be those players that are like locked in Champions League contender starters, because that's what we still don't have. Even Pulisic was, aside from one season at Chelsea, never that. That's our next step is we need a true world-class player to like where we firmly, because that's what other countries have that make deep runs and can potentially win a World Cup, is they have a team like we do of like solid players, but they also have the guy that's a level above. And we've never had that in our entire history. So
They've
that's
never
our
had, like you said, they've never had somebody who can say, you know what, go take over a game for us. And
Yeah.
they just haven't. Pulisic has had it. Pulisic had moments.
Yeah.
But it's not
a 10-year it's not a 10-year career where he's on a team like PSG or Real Madrid or Arsenal.
I mean, even if you want to go a household name that people know, they've never had a Lionel Messi. They've never had a Cristiano Ronaldo where they could be like, okay, give him the ball, get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
And go score me 2 goals and get us back in this game.
They've never even had like a Toni Kroos from Germany who played for 10, 15 years at Real Madrid. Like that's our next step, and we're getting there. I'm sure at some point we will. So that's our next step in player development. Our problem internally with our federation is other federations, like England, for example, the national team is here, the English FA. The Premier League is here. They are separate entities. They work together, but they're separate entities. U.S. Soccer is supposed to be separate from MLS, but Don Garber, the president of MLS, sits on the U.S. Soccer board. They are too intertwined, and that means that MLS and our media have too much influence over our decisions at a high level. And we're also a pay-to-play country, so playing youth soccer is incredibly expensive at the high levels. Like Christian Pulisic wasn't developed by MLS and was mainly developed by his parents, his dad's club. The reason he's had a chance at all of ever being good was because his dad and his mom were college soccer players that developed him from a young age. That's mainly where our talent comes from. It's either guys who were actually found and given spots, or like Clint Dempsey did not have that chance. He played college soccer, but Clint Dempsey has a very tough upbringing and was, fueled by that. We're going to have to eventually meld a couple of those things together where there's somebody that has high pedigree parents, like Gio Reyna has high pedigree parents, and they have a tough upbringing and they were developed it the right way. We still don't develop players the right way. Our federation is a little bit too corrupt, which is part and parcel in FIFA, but so that's what we're missing. And then in terms of coaching, our coaching isn't always the best, but there's no national team that's ever won with a coach that was not a member of their country. Do you know that?
Nope.
No national team has ever won a World Cup with a coach that was not a citizen, like a born citizen of their country. So we try.
United States got no chance.
Well, Pochettino's our coach, and that also means that England has no chance because Tuchel's German. Thank God. But that's just like a thing. So American coaches at the top level aren't the best, and like there's very few. But now that's also developing. We have a coach that is coaching in La Liga that's really good. Pellegrino Matarazzo, very very good. We have a guy that's also like a German American who's coached at Brighton in the Premier League, and he's currently coaching at a high level too. So we're developing our coaching and our players at the same time. It's just
You can argue that's where, if there's an argument of where the women are ahead of the men, that's where they're ahead.
well,
Is
and,
the homebred coaching and the homebred player development.
well, and you know who our women's coach is now? It's an English woman, because we capped that out. The reason our women were so much better than other women and were so good compared to the rest of the world is because, yeah, we still develop our women's national team like we develop our men's national team. Like it's not the perfect development like of soccer skills. Like the soccer skills you learn as a child in Spain and England, and like we don't really have that unless it's within the household and your parents are soccer players here. It's the same for our women's team, but the United States actually gave a shit about women's sports for 60 more years than other countries did. Now those other countries are starting to care, and now you can notice the English women's national team, the French, they're getting much better, and they've caught up with Americans. That's why we've had to pivot, and we're hiring English coaching, and we're pivoting as a national team even in women's because we had a head start. Our men's side, we were 60 years behind. We didn't care about soccer from like 1935 until 1995. So we've had to catch up 60 years, and honestly, in 30 years, we haven't done too bad. We're getting there. Let's talk about this group we're in. Our group is Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. If you have the schedule, I know you had it earlier. So not the hardest group like we've talked about we've ever been in, but a very tough group. The nice part about this World Cup is because it's expanded World Cup, I think some third place teams will advance as well. But for us as the host nation to not finish first or second would be a travesty. We have Paraguay in this group. Paraguay is not the most talented South American team, but they are a tough South American.
I would say that. Sorry, I thought you were gonna stop for a second. On paper, obviously, this is a group that the United States should expect to advance from, just like you kind of said, especially as the host and a host country. It's not a joke of a group per se, but it's a manageable group that they should be able to come out as probably the group winner.
Yes,
it's not too far fetched for them to say that.
No, and we have a month between well, not a month. We have a week between every game too, so plenty of rest too. Not a condensed schedule, so it's not like we're gonna have to play 3 games in 8 days. Paraguay is a middle of the road South American team. They will bring South American grit to the game. They will have some talent. Their starting center back Gustavo Gomez.
They are playing with fire too, because it's the first time they've made a World Cup in 16 years.
Yes.
So they have a chip on their shoulder. Then they want nothing rather than to come out of this group.
No, and it's a South American team. They will make every moment of the game tough. They're going to be gritty. Their captain Gustavo Gomez captains Palmeiras, which is one of the best teams in Brazil. Very very solid defender. Miguel Myron is back in the MLS, but he played a couple of years for Newcastle in the Premier League. Very speedy winger. They're going to be a tough team. We're going to have to manage that game. We're going to see how they play us. In the past, we've struggled. If they decide to bunker, we've struggled with that because USA's main talent in the past was doing what Paraguay and Australia are going to try to do to us. Bunker for our lives and counterattack. That's what this United States team, honestly, is probably would be their best thing. Like Pulisic, Reyna, Tillman, Balogun, Pepe on a counterattack would be their biggest strength. We're not as good as breaking teams down. Now, if we decide to play Gio Reyna and Tim Ream and other guys that can pick a pass and unlock a defense, and Poch sets us up right, I think we can get past these teams. But Paraguay will be tough. Same as Australia. The Socceroos are what the USA used to be. Bunker for your life, counterattack, be tough, make the game hard, make the game a scrap. They're going to try to do that to us. We're going to need to find a way to unlock that defense to get goals past. If we can force them to either come out or if we can just break their bunker, that's going to be for the best. And then the most talented or second most talented, depending on how you see the USA versus Turkey. would be Turkey. Turkey was a late European qualifier. Um, Turkey doesn't have like the craziest. They're not a European nation with the craziest depth. They're like an incredible player at every position, but their
No,
attack,
no, but you can argue that they're the most dangerous opponent in this group for the United
yes,
States
yes,
from a talent standpoint, at
yes,
least.
absolutely. And they do have the best player. They will have the best player in this group on paper, which is Arda Güler from Real Madrid. Arda Güler is young. He is an incredibly talented attacker. Plays attacking midfield for Madrid. Just great player. They have Kenan Yildiz from Juventus, and Hakan Çalhanoğlu. I'm always mispronouncing his name. He's from Inter Milan. Those three in an attack are going to be very, very good, very dangerous. The USA will have to play a good defensive game versus them. We'll have to look to shut them down. And if the USA can't shut them down, I have no worries that if we play the way we did versus Senegal, that we can put goals past them, especially if Turkey tries to play like if we both teams try to play in the midfield and like not low block and like not try to park the bus, we can 100% get goals past them. But we're going to have to limit them on the other end as well because they can absolutely score goals, those three. So that's going to be a tough one. We're going to have to be pragmatic and manage that game well. We're not going to have to quite set up in the way we would if we play like a France, which if we play a France, we're going to bunker and counterattack for our lives. We're not going to have to quite do that versus Turkey, but we need to be very, very careful in the way we approach the game versus them. And I would be very worried if we're playing that high line we played versus Senegal, we're pressing up. If we're starting a Tim Ream and those guys break out, I'd be very, very worried about our defense, because our defense has tended to leak goals, and those three guys can certainly put our defense in a world of hurt. So we need to be careful about how we approach that game. Any other thoughts on the group from you?
I think mentioning like you kind of hit on it. Australia is one of those teams that's going to play physical. They're going to play organized. They're going to be hard to play against. So I think that game and that team could test whether the United States can manage a match without kind of letting it get chaotic. They're going to try to take the United States out of their game. Obviously, they beat them in a friendly 2-1 in October, so they have had success against them. So and same thing with Paraguay. United States beat them in a friendly in November 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to play with a chip on their shoulder, and then obviously Turkey's going to test what this team really could be. It's going to test how high the ceiling can go, how well they're going to play, if they can get by them and win a 1-0 game, or like you said, score early and bunker and try to just counterattack. It's going to set the tone of like, okay, this is where this team really can go. Because you would have to assume, just based off of my guess and maybe yours as well, the two teams coming out of this group is probably going to be the United States and Turkey.
Yeah.
So if the United States can win the group and get past Turkey, it's going to be very interesting, especially because it kind of leads us into the point of like talking about their schedule, which we're going to go into next. They don't have a lot of travel on their schedule for this group. They have 2 games in LA and then the other games in Seattle. And like we mentioned before, there's 7 days in between the first and second game, and then 6 days in between the second and third game. And that LA is not a far flight from Seattle.
No.
Both of them are prime time games. 2 of the 3 are prime time games as well. A 6 p.m. kick and a 7 p.m. kick. So it's going to be all eyes on this team and this group because of the United States.
Yeah. I think the best outcome, obviously, would be winning the group. Would be if we play Turkey and I don't want to bunker if we get up 1-0 early. I would like to attack them and put goals past them and see. The best case scenario would be we attack them, we score 3 to 4 goals, and we limit them to 1-0 goals. That would signal to me that our defense is able to stand up versus a good attack. I still wouldn't play that way versus France, England, Spain, but we're able to withstand a very, very talented attack and score goals. If we get up 1 or 2-0 and bunker and win the game, not as ideal, but we'd still be winning the group most likely. number one goal, win the group, because winning the group gives us the easiest round of 16 game possible.
I
But
agree.
I would like to attempt to see if our defense, if we have beat Paraguay and Australia and have full points where we know we're getting first or second, I would like to attempt to put 3 or 4 goals past and see if our defense can hold this Turkey attack to 1, 2, or 0 goals.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that it's like you said, it's gonna be a battle no matter what game they play. It's gonna be one, how well they play, and two, if they can get out of the group stage healthy. If they can get out of the group stage healthy, they're gonna have a favorable matchup in the quarterfinals.
If we get first, if we get second, there's a chance we're playing one of the world best teams, and then it's all bets off. Then success at that point is obviously you win that game. Doesn't matter. You could lose by 17 in the next game. That's a successful World Cup. Or if we get matched up with like a France, the goal for our team, for the players, is to win that game. The goal for me as a fan is we look competitive and we lose that game 2-1 or 1-0, and we have chances in the game and we look decent. I'm fine with that. We just can't get blown out.
Oh no, I agree. I think that if you get a favorable matchup and you get through to the second,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Let's go. Let's see what this team can do. If it's you get that second seed, if you win that first game against a Germany or against a France or whoever it may be,
Yeah. Then
you're gonna have. Then
whatever happens. Yeah. Then congratulations, we beat a European team in a knockout game. I don't care if it's the Netherlands. I don't care what team it is. Congratulations, we did it. Do you want to talk about how we played versus Senegal?
Yeah, let's pull that up. Let me share.
All right.
I just pulled that up. We won. The United States beat Senegal 3-2 in their last tune-up before this World Cup. I would say that I thought they played pretty well.
Yeah.
It was I think it was the first time that the United States has ever met Senegal on any level.
I don't know if we've ever played them before. No.
No, I think it was their first ever meeting. Serginho Dest, Pulisic, and Bologan scored for the United States. I felt that Pulisic it was arguably one of his best games in the United States uniform in a long time. He had a goal. He assisted Serginho Dest's goal in the 7th minute. He scored his own goal in the 20th minute. So I thought that was exactly what you were looking for if you were Poch. The attacking was exactly what they needed before as we get closer to the World Cup.
Yeah.
This is their second to last. That was their second to last cleanup game.
Yeah.
I would say if I had a concern, it was on the defense and the defending side. Senegal's Sadio Mane scored both goals, and they both came after they came on mistakes by the United States.
Yeah, and Sadio Mane is the best player, the most talented player in that game. He's older now, but Sadio Mane was at one point one of the best players in the world. Him scoring versus the United States, not a shock. Him scoring a double or even a hat trick, not a shock. But yeah, there were definitely mistakes and things that we did wrong. We also subbed out all 11 guys in the second half, so wasn't a lot of consistency in the game. My biggest takeaway from this game is the guys that played well and we're going to need in the World Cup, they played well. The guys that are depth pieces that I question them on the roster played bad.
They struggled.
They played bad, yeah. Berhalter played okay. Sebastian Berhalter played okay, which made me at least confident that versus like a Paraguay or an Australia, he can be fine.
To touch on what you're saying, here's the second half when they subbed out those guys.
Yeah.
Possession was dominated by Senegal.
Yeah.
United States had more shots, on target, and they had more touches in the opposition box. But the possession game was dominated by Senegal.
Yes, and I think that's because our defense and our midfield wasn't able to hold up the ball as well because we had worse players there. Now, as you can tell from our shots, though, our attack, because of our depth in attacking, our attack is good no matter what. We take out
3 big chances to 1. They had 2 missed big chances as well.
Yeah.
You
take out
that's just in the second half by itself. Just keep in mind.
Yeah, but you take what I'm saying is like you take out Pulisic, Pepe, Reyna, Dest, and you put on Tim Weah, Weston McKennie, Malik Tillman, Fuller, and Balogun, and they're still just like we are deep in that attack. So I'm very happy with how the attack played the entire game. Adams looked fine. Berhalter looked okay. McKenzie wasn't bad. Mark McKenzie wasn't horrible. Alex Freeman looked really good. I really liked him backing up Serginho Dest as the athletic defending side of that right defense, with him playing the right center back role and Dest playing the more free role. Reyna was a little safe in the game. I felt like he could attack a little bit more, but he wasn't bad by any means.
Yeah, they did sub everybody out. Everybody played 45 minutes.
Yep. Every single person played 45 minutes. And then maybe Zendejas came on late or somebody else came in late.
Zendejas only played 14.
And then, yeah, so like Trusty, I think Austin like Tim Ream didn't look good. He struggled. His passing still wasn't bad, but his athleticism was clearly not there. Austin Trusty came in. He played good. Joe Scally played okay. Miles Robinson came in, and let's be honest, it was a disaster. I don't know about you, Michael, but when I watched Miles Robinson play, it was an unmitigated disaster.
I didn't think he played very well at all. He contributed on the defensive side a little bit, but he had a lot of lackadaisical gaps. I thought
that goal that they gave up, where he tried to clear the ball off a defender, he looked like a child, like a 15-year-old high school center back, just turning and trying to kick the ball as hard as possible to get it somewhere, goes off the defender and like to the goalie. And Chris Brady is clearly both a young goalkeeper, wasn't very quick off his line, and is also like, why the hell did my center back just kick it off the defender to me? And then he gets passed by Sadio Mane, and Sadio Mane scores the second goal. Miles Robinson, if that's the best defending you can do versus an old like a not like world class attack, is try to clear the ball as hard as possible, buddy, you don't deserve to play. It was disaster. Christian Roldan had like 4 or 5 midfield giveaways that I just thought was child level stuff. It wasn't good at all. I thought Max Arfston played pretty good. I was pretty impressed with his attacking. So like I've said this entire time, I'm not trying to hate on all the MLS guys. I think Berhalter and Arfston certainly can have times where they can play for this team. I don't know if versus the highest level opponents they should, but they have something to give. Christian Roldan and Miles Robinson did not look good at all. And this is Senegal. Senegal is a good African team, one of the best teams in Africa, but it is not France. And they did not look good.
I think if you want to argue what they did, Senegal gave the United States confidence in certain things.
Yeah.
It didn't erase any of the defensive concerns that they had in any of these tune-up games per se.
No.
I think the game made a perfect snapshot of what this team is right now.
Yeah.
Very dangerous, very going forward, but also very concerning on the defense defensively. And I think that it showed what the ceiling can be, but also gave you the very warning signs that this could be an early exit if they don't clean stuff up.
And thankfully, there was a ton of subs. So what I'm hoping this game showed Poch is, okay, Sebastian Berhalter, Max Arfston, they can play if I need them to. Christian Roldan and Tim Ream and Miles Robinson maybe can't. I think he knows that Chris Richards, like you said, he knows that Chris Richards should be a starter. I think he wants Alex Freeman to be that right center back starter. And then Austin Trusty played good for another game. I think that hopefully the guys that needed to show they were good showed they were good. And hopefully the guys that we needed to kind of prove that they couldn't play and shouldn't play, proved that they couldn't. And hopefully Poch has looked at that and said, okay, I now know that I have 4 guys I can trust at center back. And even Tim Ream, like I said, if you want to play him versus Australia, and fine, but like he can't play versus a great attack. Now he knows Miles Robinson, Christian Roldan, they're emergency only. Hopefully he's learned that. The issue is if he didn't learn that, then we got problems. But yeah, the guys that needed to show they were good, our attack, they showed that they were in it and they're good. And then the guys that showed that we thought maybe weren't up to the level showed they weren't up to the level. And hopefully we take our lessons from that. And then I'm hoping for tomorrow that we play our starters outside of Chris Richards and we give them 50 to 60 minutes.
I think they said that's the plan.
Okay.
You're going to see a majority of who's going to play.
Yeah. So
Is it gonna, obviously with Richards out, gonna go that way? Not always,
No.
but is it going to be somebody who
Is Christian Roldan and Miles Robinson getting minutes? Probably not.
they're probably going to play 20 minutes at the very end of the game? They're gonna,
Maybe.
they're going to clean, but no, but you know what I'm saying. Like they're going to clean, this up to a point where you're going to see they need to get them in fitness shape
and playing together in this formation, because this formation is still new, and like we've talked about, all of our best starters still haven't played together a lot. So play them in the positions that you're planning to play them for 60 minutes, see how they play versus Germany. If they can play with Germany, you feel really good about them. You sub them all out at 60 minutes to keep them healthy, and we go into the World Cup pretty confident. The issue is, if we put in those guys for the last 20 minutes and they suck and they let 4 goals past them, is our media going to be intelligent enough to say we still played good because our starters actually played good? Or are they going to say, we lost? And our casual American soccer fans going to be like, this team sucks, we can't play with Germany. When if our starters go out there and we play Germany to a 1-1, and then we sub in all these other guys, and then they give up 2 goals, are our fans going to be like, we're not good enough? I hope not. I hope not. But that shouldn't be a concern, because the biggest concern is getting these guys to play together for 60 minutes.
Fatma predicts the lineup for tomorrow to be Pulisic, Bologan, Reyna, Robinson, Adams, Berhalter, McKinney, Ream, McKenzie, Freeman, and then Freeze in goal.
Yeah. So the reason McKinney is at that right wing back is because that's where he has played majority of the time for Juventus, and FootMob uses AI models to predict lineups. So most likely it will be, I would say it's either going to be Robinson, Adams, Berhalter, Dest, and then Pulisic, McKinney, Balogun, or Balogun, Pulisic, one of Tillman or Reyna, and then Robinson, Adams, McKinney, Dest. But yeah, that's pretty close to what it will be. And then if we decide to not actually full sub and we're just going to use our impact subs, then it will be whichever one didn't start of Pepe or Balogun, whichever one didn't start of Tillman or Reyna, probably Austin Trusty or Tim Ream, whichever one didn't start, and maybe Zendeja, and then Weah for Serginho Dest, and Arston for Robinson.
Yeah, this has him not starting Serginho Dest, which I'm surprised at.
Yeah, it's just because. So if
I get it. I'm just saying, you would think that it would make sense.
The AI model is probably taking into account that Dest hasn't played a lot for us because he's been hurt for a season. So they're taking into account that. They're taking into account that Juventus is a higher level league than PSV. So then, and where Weston plays most of the time for his club. But yeah, either way, I'm not mad at that lineup if that's the lineup either. So
yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that either. So
I would personally prefer to see McKinney instead of Berhalter. I think Berhalter provides a little bit, but I versus a team like Germany, I don't think there's really room for guys like Sebastian Berhalter when you have Weston McKinney on the roster.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm excited for the World Cup. I'm excited for not only the USA games. I'm excited for every game. Do you have any predictions about winning or anything?
For the World Cup in general? I don't think so. I just want to watch some good games and good soccer.
Yeah.
I hope the United States gets out of their group and wins the group. That's the only thing that I'm really focused on. And I want to see them be successful. That's all I could ask for. 2022 was so frustrating for what the team was. Yeah. And I want them to perform better than they did in 2022. And I think if I had any expectation, I think that's the expectation. Is just, for me, perform better than 2022, get out of your group, win your group, because I think your group is winnable, and try to make some damage and make a name for yourself in the world of soccer.
Yeah. Is that what you consider success? As a casual fan, is that what you consider success? Winning the group and then
winning the group and getting winning a game after that.
Or do you consider it a success if they play good versus a Germany or a France, but still lose?
I would say I would say success would be win your group, win the quarterfinal game, and take a team like Germany to the 90th minute.
Okay. Success for me
because they have too much talent. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
They have too much talent to not do that.
Yeah.
They if you lose 3-1 to Germany, I'm just as an example, but it was close and you gave up 2 late ones, an 80th minute or 85th minute.
And one of them's a banger that you can't save.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's different.
Yeah.
Just don't win a game, win your group, win a quarterfinal game, and then try not to lose 5-1 in the semifinal.
Yeah. I would say for me as like a big soccer fan and as a fan that has fought, like I know every single one of these guys' hometowns and I know half of their parents' names, which is almost a little creepy. But I would say success for me would be getting out of the group. If for some reason something goes wrong, we have injuries and we end up having to like kind of skate our way into second in the group, that's fine. But if we get second in the group and we play and then second in the group means we're most likely going to play one of those really good teams, then it's playing them well and even losing, but we have to play them well. Number one success would be winning the group and looking really good, even dominant, and then winning the hopefully easier quarterfinal, like round of 16 matchup, and then either being competitive in a quarterfinal where we lose 2-1 to France, or winning that game. And then anything past there is cherry on top. I would say abject failure is obviously if we don't get out of the group. If we don't get out of the group and there's certain third place teams being taken out of groups too, and we get fourth, like if we get fourth, we should quit playing soccer as a whole. If we get third and don't get picked out, that's our fault. If we get third and picked out, if we get third and get picked out, we better win that round of 16 game because otherwise we just would have not performed well enough to our talent level. But failure is also if we win our group and then we play like we did in the last World Cup, we play like a Netherlands and we lose 6-1. That's still failure to me because this group is not.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have to. That's why I think failures. I think it's a failure if they don't win their group. To be honest, I think they have too much talent. Like, or
I'd agree.
Or if you don't win your group, I'm just gonna say it this way: if you don't win your group, and let's just say you lose to Turkey 4-1, you're embarrassed, and you're a second seed. Then you play a Germany or Netherlands, like you said, and you lose 6-1, 5-1 in the quarterfinal game.
That's a failure. Yeah,
that's a failure. But I think if you win your group, that should be the expectation because the group is relatively weak compared to some of the groups they've been in the past.
Yeah,
so if they can if you can win I think the minimum expectation should be to win the group. And then if they win the group, win the next game because that you're gonna have all the momentum, all the hype, everything going around you, especially it being on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
And then take it from there. Like and ride the momentum that you can build for yourself. Yeah. The adrenaline, the momentum, it's gonna be different playing in the United States.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have, let's just say you play Turkey in a Charlotte or at SoFi. It's gonna be 95% United States fans in there.
Yeah.
Because they actually have the opportunity to go to a game.
Yeah.
So
as long as they have enough money.
But you get what I'm saying. It's not going to be. You're not fighting an away crowd. No. You're going to have home field every single game you play, and that stadium is going to be raucous no matter who you play. So feed off that momentum and take advantage of it. This may be the only time some of these players in their careers get to have something like this on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
So ride the wave, use the adrenaline. And use the talent that you have and get to where, the minimum expectation should be of winning the group. Yeah. If you can do that, it's going to be a raucous quarterfinal game no matter who they play with United States fans because they got through. And then you how those games goes. Like those NCAA tournament games when it's a home game for somebody else or, the Super Bowl or those AFC championships, like those games are raucous when it's home field advantage. Like, when you have like when the Rams won the Super Bowl when they beat Cincinnati and it was a home game for them.
Yeah.
Like it's completely different.
Yeah.
And you have to take advantage. Like I've said it like 3 times now, but you have to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Feed into it. Feed any energy. If you score a goal, maybe go a little bit excessive with the celebration.
Yeah.
Get the crowd into it. Like
how how many players have played in their primes in their home country for a World Cup? How many? Very few.
You can argue very few.
Very few. I mean, like it's not like Messi's ever played in Argentina World Cup. Like it doesn't happen for a ton of people. So yeah, take advantage of it. I would put a little caveat. I completely agree with everything you said on what success is. I'd put a little caveat. We can get second in the group, but if we get second in the group, it better be because we beat Australia and Paraguay, and versus Turkey, we tie them or we lose to them like 2-1, and Arda Güler scores a banger from 35 yards out. Or if we tie, they win on goal differential. If we get second that way, fine, whatever, fine. But we better be competitive. If there's any game in this tournament, unless we're playing France or Spain, and I still don't want to lose to them by 5, but like if there's any game in this tournament outside of playing France and we lose by 2 or more goals, I'm not gonna be very happy with it.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. I don't even think that. I think if you lose on goal differential because Turkey decided to beat Paraguay 5-1 and you beat them 2-1, that's different.
Yeah.
But I think if you lost to Turkey and you lost the group, and you lose and it's not close, and you lose and that's completely different.
Yeah, then it's not good enough. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm excited for the World Cup. I think France is going to win. I think they're too good. I think PSG is off the back of 2 Champions League winners, and that's a lot of the French team. And then Kylian Mbappe is incredible in World Cups. He was incredible in 2018 when they won. He was incredible in 2022, and they lost on penalties in the World Cup finals. So that's a crapshoot no matter what. So I'm excited for it. I think we're gonna cover even more of it. I'm sure we'll get together after. We could probably talk about.
There's enough time in between games so we can do game recaps and
talk
about everything that's going on. So I think it's kind of like it's not as congested per se as like the Stanley Cup final or the NBA finals where a game is every other day.
No,
they have a week in between games. There's gonna be a lot of soccer going on that you can talk about as well.
Yeah.
But if it's mainly going to be United States talk, there's plenty of time to digest what happened. There's no rush to get anything out, but I know you'll have content out in between each game.
Absolutely. Very excited. Like I said earlier, I will be at USA Germany. If anybody that possibly watches this sees me, please say hi. But we'll be excited to see it. I'll probably talk to you next week early about USA Germany. So looking forward to it. That was our USA, look ahead into the World Cup and recap of the Senegal game. Until we see you guys next time, please support the United States in the World Cup. If you're a citizen of the United States, please go to some bar or go to some local viewing area for World Cup games. Enjoy it. World Cups on home soil happen very little. If you're from another country, go support your country too. Glad to have you guys here. Very excited for the world to come and experience the United States and experience what United States stadiums and culture and United States soccer has to offer. So looking forward to a great World Cup. Go USA, baby. Till next time.
Make sure you like and subscribe to Sam's channel as well.
Yes, please.
Repost, reshare everything you can. That we want to make sure that Sam gets out there and talks to the United States to whoever wants to see it and takes off during the World Cup.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on, Michael. Appreciate you as always. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you, guys.